guys, welcome to another recap of Dancing with the Stars. So this week's show is based on the celebrity's most memorable year. Alright, to begin the show, Rob Kardashian and Cheryl. His most memorable year was '03 when his dad passed away. Let me say, he's got some great tats there. Whoever did that tat of Jesus on his shoulder and his dad on his forearm, they're quite the artist. I don't know if Jesus would approve of it, but it was pretty cool. They did a foxtrot. I'm seeing some improvement in him, but it's still basically bear in a swamp territory. And he's kind of lacking in the style department. He didn't know what Guys and Dolls was either, which I find very hard to believe, but I guess they don't have a video game for that, so they ended up with a 24. I'm just gonna preface this by saying that the judges' scores were heavily padded for most of the celebrities today, I think. Alright, China Phillips and Tony up next with a Rumba. And Rumba seemed to be the popular dance of the night. I think at least half of the people did Rumba. Her year was 1990 when she stopped drinking and met her future husband. And her hit song came out, which she danced to. Her dance, it was very good, but I still kind of got the feeling that she was holding back a lot. Like, she cut her movements short and everything. There wasn't as much fluidity as there could have been, but the judges were pretty kind. They gave her a 26. Next up, Chaz Bono and Lacey. This was the train wreck of the evening for me. And his year of happy, or most memorable year, was this year, because now he's happier than ever, I guess, now that he's a he. They also did a Rumba, and like I said, it was horrible. I just hate creative choreography, and by that I mean when the pro does most of the dancing and the celebrity just stands around and goes like this, and it's supposed to be like dancing. He just stood there most of the time, and when he wasn't standing there, he was awkwardly walking around. Len said it was his best dance. I'm gonna have to disagree, because basically all he did was stand around. At least some of the other dances he was moving around. This one he was basically just standing around and walking awkwardly for most of the dance. I thought the judges were extremely kind by giving him an 18. That's all I could say about that. Kristen Cavallari and Mark up next. Her most memorable year was 2005 when she graduated high school and decided not to go to college and pursue becoming a celebrity. She's the same age as Kristen, so this is hard for me to wrap my brain around. They did a samba. It was okay. A few slip-ups here and there, but I mean, I don't see much growth week to week with her. I think she's pretty much the same. I thought, though, her score was a little bit low compared to everyone else. Like, in any other year, a 24 would have been good. But compared to everybody else in the competition, I thought the judges' scoring was a little bit low for her. Carson Kressley and Anna up next. They had a tango. And his most memorable year was 2003 when Queer Eye for the Straight Guy came out. And I gotta tell you, I absolutely loved that show when it came out. It was glued to every episode, mostly because of Carson, because I just thought he was the most dynamic personality on the show, and he just so positive all the time, and I love that about him. So the tango was a tango on the catwalk, because he is the fashion guy on Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. I wish that show was still on. And wasn't he the cutest kid ever? I mean, they were showing some of those pictures from when he was younger, and I just wanted to squeeze him. Ah, so cute. I really love him on this show this season because he's trying. Every week he comes back and he tries, and it's obvious that he really wants to do well. He's not that great, but his attitude makes up for it. I just love him, and he could go out there and do horribly, and I would still want to see him get a 30. But he ended up with a 23, so I hope that's enough to get him through to next week. J.R. Martinez and Karina up next. His most memorable year was when he was injured in Iraq and he thought he was going to die. He dedicated this to the men and women who didn't make it back. Another rumba. I actually cried during this one. It was just so beautiful and so touching, and he put so much emotion into it. It really was obvious. And I feel bad for him because I think that he always gets a bum deal from the judges. He's always set to a higher standard with them, and I find that ridiculous because he's not a dancer and he doesn't have any dance experience. He ended up with a 26. I really thought that that should have been the highest dance of the night, if not tied for the highest dance of the night. But Len's got to be a jerk all the time. All right, Nancy Grace and Tristan up next. Her daughter almost died. That was her most memorable year, and she almost died along with her. And it was the day that she was born. I guess she had to have an emergency C-section for her twins, and I guess she was getting like pneumonia. Her lungs were filling up with fluid. They did a waltz, and I thought she did a good job. She was a little bit stiff. I mean, I could see some improvement in her from week to week. Her kids were gorgeous. Hello. I thought the judges were a little harsh, though. I guess they had to give some people lower scores. I don't know why they picked her. They gave her a 21. Thought that was kind of unfair. Ricky and Derek up next. Ricky Lake, that is. Last year, her house burned down. And she also found a new love after going through a very bitter divorce. Difficult divorce. So that's always exciting. She did a rumba with Derek. She looks absolutely amazing. I've been following her career because she used to be on in New York years and years ago. I've been following her for like the last, God, since she was in Hairspray actually. So yeah, she's looking better than I think she's ever looked in her entire career. And I gotta really hand it to her because she's really making the most of this show. The dance was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. And she got the highest score of the night at 27. Then Hope Solo and Max stepped up. And her biggest year was 2011 when her team almost won the Women's World Cup. But they didn't. And she learned a very valuable lesson that winning isn't everything. It's about the journey. So they had a cha-cha. And it kind of made me a little uncomfortable. Because first of all, there's a big difference between sexy and dirty. And they were bordering on dirty. They were going for sexy, but they ended up dirty. And I just feel like, second of all, she almost seems like she's going backwards on her journey. Her dancing is still very awkward. She's finding it hard to be soft and feminine, and she's an athlete though, so I guess it's pretty difficult, but I'm not seeing a lot of improvement from her. They ended up with a 24. Last dance of the night, David Arquette and Kim. It was his most memorable year was last year when his marriage fell apart, which is really sad. And he just loves his daughter, and she's everything to him. And it's so sad to see every week Courtney Cox just sitting there with a smile like plastered on her face when she's probably like, this idiot, I can't believe he did this to me. All right, it was bad what went down between the two of them. So I'm finding it hard to believe that, you know, they're friends. I guess she's putting that smile on her face for the kid, but it's uncomfortable. All right, so again, another rumba. I thought it was okay. It was teetering on Bear in a Swamp. He doesn't have a lot of style. The goofiness is just showing through week after week. The judges had to be nice to him. His daughter was in the audience. I feel bad for her. She's caught all in the middle of this, and I guess the judges did too. He ended up with a 24. So, what do you say? I guess, you know, Chaz may be going home. And if Chaz isn't going home, maybe Nancy Grace. It would be a shame if she went home, though, because I think she was really trying. So we'll see whose fan base can carry them through. And tomorrow night on the results show, Len is going to be doing a dance. And I heard something about a surprise guest. I wonder who it could be. Guess we'll have to wait till tomorrow to find out. So until then, much love.